This was supposed to be our tech weekend, but we had some stuff fall through, and Derek Melton was not able to be with us, but that's okay. Today we had a little bit of tech stuff. Now we're going to get into the real tech side of it. Uh, the first part, Stonewash, was just kind of try to fill some time up, but now we're getting to the more tech side of stuff, for as far as computer laptops, using a Silhouette Cameo machine. You do not need the Silhouette machine, but it's make your life a whole lot easier as far as using it. The machine will do it all for you. It'll cut everything out for you versus you doing all this by hand. You could do this by hand, but the machine will speed it up way more, and you'll have to do it every single time versus just program it one time and having the machine cut several designs a few times, whether you want to do your maker's mark or any other design. There are two companies that are real popular. One's Silhouette, and the other is Cricut. Today we're actually going to use the Silhouette Cameo 3 machine. This is not a very complicated machine to use. Once you get the basic concept down, it's actually very easy. It's no different than working a smartphone. You can use this machine for a lot of different stuff, even doing your own design, like on my laptop here. You can use it as a marketing, print stickers for your own small business or just for fun. Again, you do not need to use all this. You can just do all this by hand if you want to. What we're basically going to do is just make a sticker here. We're going to have our outline, and whatever exposed metal is showing on the knife or any metal material is going to be basically etched into the material. And on the knife I'm passing around is my maker's mark, which you see on the laptop screen. In order to get this, we're basically going to make a outline of my decal you see right here. We're going to actually remove the lines that you see on the laptop to get the maker's mark to do so. If you want to use a photo like on Palmer's knife of the deer, what you end up doing is actually you can go online and grabbing a photo, and you can copy it straight over and apply it to the knife. And you can trace this in the software and actually use the image as is with very little work. You can add, remove, and play with the photo as needed. You can do it. Okay, since I'm already dealing with bad audio as is, I figured it'd be best I can go ahead and just show you in the actual computer what I was doing. That way you can actually see a little bit better and follow along. I know it may be a little sketchy because I'm having a hard time focusing right now, but this is the main menu, what you have right here. What we're going to do is we're going to grab a photo off my computer that I already have downloaded from the MFC. Go to open, scroll down till you find the photo you would want. I want the MFC logo. There it is. There. Now I actually have the MFC entire logo as is on right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over here, open trace panel, select area. Now I'm going to right click and drag and select the whole area I want. And release. Now you have the option here of solid fill and outline. I'm going to leave it on solid fill. Go to trace. Now I'm just going to grab and offset this picture that I used. I'm going to go ahead and right click, select delete, and there. we have the entire logo as is. So if I want to, I could go ahead and cut this all out like it is. But if you want to actually just remove parts of this, you can. But these very tiny lines, once you start scaling it down right here, may not cut. It may literally just rip the vinyl. So I'm going to go over here, grab the eraser, and once you erase one single line out of all of this, it basically individualizes everything. Watch. Left click, just erase that right there. Processing. Go back up here, grab my normal arrow. Now I should be able to grab these individual lines and move them as I want. I could go ahead and just delete whole sections of lines. And if I want to, go ahead and delete this. If I want to, all these little areas right here, these little feathers almost, I'm going to left click and drag this whole bar and get multiple selections here. Right click, delete, and there. Now, this is what I'm talking about. You can literally customize this a little more better. I can left click, drag this. If I want to, make it smaller or bigger, and put it inside here if I want. You basically can do whatever you want at this point. And if you want to zoom in, if you can't really see your work, you can zoom, and get into these fine little lines here. Go ahead, delete. Grab another one of these little small lines. Right click, delete. Go ahead. Left click, drag again, go all the way up. You guys can delete, copy, paste if you want to do this over and over. Zoom out, zoom out. If I want to, I can just left click, drag again, select all this. Alright, you see this little specks here? This is what I'm talking about. If you actually use an actual photo, these tiny little specks here will actually show up in your lines. Where it'll try to draw these lines even though you barely can see them. And that's why you sometimes gotta be a little careful. Just left click this. Try just to get these little itty bitty ones. Delete it again. And let's go back to what I was doing. Select the whole image. Copy. Right click. And paste. Now we have a duplicate if we want. I don't want one, so I'm just going to delete it. And you can basically do whatever you want right here. You just want to put a name in. You can change the fonts, the size, whatever you would like. Enter. Select it. Make it large if we want. Once we have our design of whatever we're doing, whether we're making a sticker or if we're getting this ready to electro etch, we basically, after we get everything done, we're in the design section. We're actually going to go over to send. It's processing, and all that you see highlighted right here is what it's going to cut out. Then over here is what all you have: your force and your speed. And it actually is very smart when it comes to this right here, because you can choose whatever uh, material you are using. If you go up here, it says cardstock plane. It can be balsa wood, cardstock, glitter, clipboard. Basically would select whatever you are using at the time. And if you want to, you can just use what the factory settings are pretty close to where you would like. We have a list of items we could use. Heat transfer. And we're going to go all the way to the bottom here. Then we have our vinyls, which is what we're using. You have the glitter, you have the matte. I'm going to go with vinyl matte. And again, you can use whatever. You can alter the settings if you want to do a test cut. You do not want to cut all the way through the piece. If it goes through the vinyl and the plastic backing, you might want to lighten the force. If it is actually ripping around the corners, you may want to slow the speed down. I do not have it set up to print right now. It's basically trying to connect right here. I'm just trying to show you.
And when you're ready to cut,
Since
you're
I
going to
couldn't
place the vinyl
show
on a
everybody
mat.
in the
It's
actual
basically just a
meeting,
sticky, hard plastic mat.
it would have it basically
It
hooked
makes it
up,
easier
and
for it
then
to
I would
stick
just
to it
say
and cut.
send, and it would
Place it
send it straight to
inside
the
of the
printer as
machine and let
is.
it do its thing. Pull it out when it's done and remove the sticker, decal, or whatever it is. Then you're basically going to remove the part of the sticker or the decal or design you do not or you do want to show through, as is the MFC logo or the lettering. What you actually want to remove is the lettering itself or the logo or design itself, because the companies that design this, Cricut or Silhouette, or actually have special tools to remove the sticker from the clear backing. I normally just use a regular box cutter knife. That way, if there are some of the stickers that did not cut all the way through, you occasionally will get it. I can just take the razor knife and just cut it out, because you already have a good design to follow, so you're not 100% freehanding it. After you remove all the sticker that you want exposed, you normally use transfer paper. You do not have to use transfer paper. You actually can use just regular Scotch paper or packing paper. You might want to put it on your clothes a few times, get a little bit of fabric so it isn't as sticky, because you do want to release. What all this is you place the transfer paper over the vinyl, remove the plastic backing that holds the vinyl from the part that basically keeps the sticky side protected. Then, with the clear transfer paper, you actually can place it on whatever item you would like, and you still be able to see what you're doing more clearly versus just applying it as is. But before you do so, what you need to do is clean the surface of any oils, contaminants, because you are trying to get a nice, good, clear bond with the vinyl to the metal. Because when you start going to electro etch, if there's any gaps, it will etch between those gaps. So you're wanting a nice, good contact surface so you can get a nice, good, clear, crisp image onto the metal that you're etching. And again, using my personal favorite is acetone. Again, you can use rubbing alcohol if you'd like. What I'm using here is a 12-volt battery charger with a 1.5 amp system. You can use battery charging systems, but you want to make sure it is not a smart charger. Smart chargers will need to detect a current before it'll start activating. So what I will do is actually you're gonna need a manual setup. How you start this is you hook the positive cable lead to the piece you're working on, and you're going to use a salt water soaked cotton ball or piece of cloth on the negative side and basically ground it to the piece you're working on. This is just regular table salt. Now, if you're using a stainless blade, you're actually going to need AC current. AC is a lot. AC current's a lot more dangerous. They're using DC current. Most carbon steel blades, you use DC current, and just a table salt solution. When you're doing this, try to keep your hands dry as possible. Do not have wet saltwater hands when you're dealing with this. This is not enough to severely hurt you, but it will tickle and potentially just sting a little bit. Nothing major. As long as you try to keep your hands dry and only touch parts of the connectors that are rubberized or in my case wooden, you should be fine and won't have any issues. Here you see a little device I've made that's basically just a wooden block with copper on both sides. If you're doing a bigger design, you actually want to use a bigger surface area or a stamp to get a nice consistent etch inside, because you don't want to be holding in a little small area sitting there counting every 5 or 10 seconds, pick up, move to another area 5 or 10 seconds, and do that 30 times just get one clear pass. The bigger the area you plan on using, the bigger the stamp you're going to be wanting. How I made this was just a simple wooden oak block with some copper piping that I flattened out and just basically bent to shape. Then I just hooked the negative lead to it.
Be very careful around it. The only time you use AC current for this is
And
using
as a
stainless
side
steel
note, you
blades.
are going to want to cover the blade up, potentially both sides. You might want to cover the back side up and cover the sides up, because if any of the salt water runs off when you're etching and it lands on the blade, it will etch even off to the side. So you want to get full coverage and only have the exposed metal you won't etch to show, or else it will darken the steel and potentially dig into it.
Cover up the blade as much as possible, because if, say, the salt solution gets, for whatever reason, starts to pull up, because it is going to start to pull up, you don't want it to leak over the vinyl. Even if you're not even touching that area, it will
You
still
can
catch.
use
It's going to send a
vinyl
current
that
through
you
the
already
whole
have on
blade.
hand, or you
Like
can
right now,
use
the
packing
salt water
tape,
got over
like you
here,
see me doing
it will
right
itch that
here.
too. You won't even want that. So cover up as much as the blade as you can. Basically, touch the vinyl right here, run it over this. That's to keep it from etching. Be careful of the back
What I'm using here is basically just some medical gauze. It's basically almost kind of cottonish. You can use cotton balls, 100% cotton t-shirts, anything that's really going to soak and absorb that salt water up. Once you dip it into the salt water, you can want to kind of wring it out. You don't want it fully just dripping, water dripping off. You want it saturated, but not oversaturated. If you're using cotton balls, as far as logos go, like a 1 inch by 1 inch logo, once the two cotton balls are completely dirty, then you are pulling metal off of the surface, and it will transfer over to the cotton ball, and it will rust it and basically turn it black or brown. Once you get that two complete cotton balls covered, you normally have a good deep etch by then. You don't want to just bear down the cotton ball or lead too long because it does create heat, and over time if you leave it on too long it will heat up enough where it will actually peel the sticker off. You want to only hold it down for maybe 5 to 6 seconds, pick up and move to another location or to the same location depending on how big your area you're trying to etch. If you are etching a big area, try to keep the time consistent between going to one part of it to the same as the other part, whether you're counting or just going by instinct. The longer you leave it on there, the more it's going to etch, the deeper it's going to etch.
So, well, I was just thinking, if you made your copper handle wider, like if you were doing something like that consistently and made that wider, would that be better that it covered the whole area at one time?
Ideally, you would have something that cover the entire thing.
Ideally, it is better to have the size you're going to do the most. And if I was doing something this big or bigger, like if I did the bear more often, I would have something that size. Just because it's easier just to sit go versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a lot easier than the cotton ball. I'm telling you, it leaps and he's bounds better. The cotton ball will work, no problem. But again, you got a small area. That's probably a third, because it does shrink up once you get it liquid. It's like a quarter of this. And it's also not flat. This is flat, and I'm doing it on a flat surface, so all I do is just hold it there. Occasionally you gotta re-soak it and try to get as much of the liquid out. You don't need it dripping, you know. Because it also said it'll pull over and it'll get on other parts of the blade you don't want etching. Reattach it. And as far as how safe this is, this cotton ball is soaked. I mean, this rag is soaked. I am touching it right now with my hand. I'm not getting shot. I can feel it, but it's not like it isn't even unpleasant, to be honest with you. It's just there. Now, I wouldn't recommend you holding it down there and all that hard, but this does produce fumes. You want to be in a well ventilated area. You will see, if you want to kind of question if the reaction is taking place, you actually will see bubbles. And you actually will hear kind of a sizzling sound once you start pressing the negative lead of your cotton ball or wet rag against the positive lead of the material. and it will fizzle and produce fumes.
I've seen beaches.
As in colors. Here is a makeup pad. You can use again cotton ball, whatever strikes your fancy. If you want to, you could do this. Dip this in there. Wring most of it out. I did feel that a little more tingly because that was a little more tingle because that was, my finger is so fresh now. I didn't wipe it off like I should have. So again, all you do is hold the rubber handles up part of it. You don't want to go through all this route. The 9-volt battery with some alligator clips on there works just as well. Once this whole piece got that like that, I'd probably change it out within a touch mark like you're seeing on my other knife I passed around. Once it gets to there, I would probably say two cotton balls per touch mark size. Your wife has picking up Southern accent, you know what strawberry squirrel is. We got strawberry squirrel ice cream. Look at you.
They got nuts in it? There's nuts in my strawberry squirrel. Oh, I forgot to clean it, babe.
After you get done etching, do whatever depth you want. You are going to want to take a old toothbrush and get rid of all the loose liquid metal. Dry it off best you can, and go ahead and WD-40 it because you are dealing with salt water and it will rust the blade over time.
Also, if you have an optivizer, something you can magnify, you can actually look in there and see your depth or a loop. Yeah.
Alright, we're dealing with salt water here. Salt water doesn't melt? No. So, water good for what? Metal. No. So, if I do not treat this blade quickly, it will rust. Granted, it won't be the end of the world, but it will. I'm just going to move all the small sticker off of it. As you can see today, I'm dealing with a lot of corrosive chemicals. I've been using WD-40 pretty religiously. I would basically acetone, clean the blade off, clean almost every step.
Again, a brass brush, a toothbrush works great to remove any scale. After the vinyl sticker has been removed, we're going to take some acetone, remove any other adhesive that is stuck to the blade, clean the blade off nice and clean.
Well, someone ought to use that.
I'm trying to get it clean. Metal, what clean better than metal? Acetone. Now we'll just basically run over this with it real quick. Both sides.
WD-40 it, keep it from rusting up on us.
I always get it black brass and brass black here will darken the steel pretty good. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna once again use the acid. I'm gonna clean them off. Take some birchwood case, use brass black, tiny EDB brush. You can just blob it on there, then remove it. The top is whatever is recessed. You just get the top part, but I'm trying to preserve that stone as best as possible. A good example of how is this right here. You'll see a little bit of shiny spots up here. I did not want that on there. So what I'll do is I'll just basically go in there and just barely highlight and paint on there.
And basically all you're doing right here is actually painting the brass black inside the groove. The part you etched out, all you're trying to do is give it more depth. Basically taking my time and darkening whatever parts I would want to stay dark, and I'll go back over it with a Scotch-Brite pad or some high grit sandpaper like 500 grit and remove whatever I kind of spill over the edges.
Automatically just goes black. It just starts reacting to steel. Take a little bit of acetone here, smooth it. Sometimes it won't go on even, sometimes it won't.
If need be, you can do multiple coats so you get the desired look you want.
A little bit lighter than I want. Leave the ones I like dark. I get a nice even. And this is also another thing. Just layer on, layer on, layer on, layer on. Darken it more and more and more. Use the light. It'll get darker over time. But I don't want to remove it because I want to know if it's going on too. That's the key. Because it is darker. It may be darker here unless there's a white mark. You don't want the light spots. So what I'll do is whatever's lighter. On the second layer, after I wipe it off, I'll put that first. Now it'll be dark. Dark and dark. Give it a few seconds and do the whole thing over again. And for the most part, we'll do it more evenly at the moment.
Hit it with a shot WD-40. Grab you some high grit sandpaper or some Scotch-Brite pad and easily go over the top to remove any of the brass black that spilt over the edges. And you're done.
Show Ed the pictures. He'll love them. Wow, he got a really good edge on it. Oh yeah. I see the depth on it.
And this pretty much wraps up the demo. All you see now is basically just a continuation of the normal Saturday MFC meeting. You'll see basically iron hats and talking, general discussion. If you want to, you can just stop watching right now. Or if you just want to see the rest of the video, you can. What you're going to see next is basically just me doing the other knife.
Yes, it is.
Contribute two knives per iron hat. And basically just throwing the MFC logo somewhat on the other knife while the iron and the hat's going on. So you're basically just going to see a quick version of all the things I've done leading up to this.
The main difference is going to be that mouth will move a lot more than this. Because once it's hot, it's
As you do not know, all proceeds help further the MFC.
Keep us going, so we can hire folks to come see stuff that we have never seen. Like Mr. Harry here, we're discussing things. Anyway, I hadn't gotten a count, but we did a lot better than some months. So, and thank y'all for participating. But we're gonna start here with this Farrier rasp. And unless you have anything else, anybody else have anything? Get the winning started. We got a drawer here. Tell everybody your name. Yes, sir.
what do you say?
Speak up.
I'm Philip.
Philip.
Oh, yeah, there you go. All right, get one out of there.
You say you're fed up, Phil?
Some of us old people can't hear.
5003305.
Last three digits. 305?
305.
305.
Not me.
76.
little more than that leather.
Yeah.
Sir, once you buy tickets, you're part of the group, and we're free to make fun. It's in the bylaws.
Your family now.
Not a problem. Go right ahead.
Y'all hadn't seen the doors that his dad did. Y'all need to take a look.
Especially when you learn they're made cold.
Right.
It is a little thin, but it's 5160, so.
Heat treated and all that good stuff, so that should be good. All right, next up,
Good work on
stake
that.
turn. Horse head stake turn. Right. Got a horse headed stake turn. I make that.
Well, you gotta brag, man.
It's also
Wait, you're black.
There you are. 196. Right here. All right. If I'm gonna look at anything, yeah. All right. Got a key finder here. It's a daisy. It's a daisy. Daisy, you do.
For when you're wearing your Daisy Dukes.
Nobody knows what a key finder is.
Don't pull that thing out.
Too late.
It's just how quick you can get to your keys.
Excuse me while I
Whip this out.
thank you, Bill.
Y'all have watched a little too much Blazing Saddles. Calm down. I recognize where it was from, didn't I?
What number?
All right. 25. I know the guy's name now. Kind of equated with it. Next one's going to be the leaf key finder, made by the same guy named Daisy's key finder. 251. All right. Check you out. I'm on the roll here. Bag of bolts here. Brian Carver brought. All right. Feeling like you get somebody else to pick next year. Y'all okay with that?
197.
197. Right here. All right. All right. We got the honey that Brian Carver brought. Thank you so much for that. Y'all don't know this. Brian is a beekeeper.
Extraordinaire.
Yeah, that makes him one of my favorite people. There you go. What line said? I think I got a ticket to it. All right. We're at 360. All right. 801.
Honey for your honey.
All right, now on this one here, these are the demo pieces. That Kurt was graciously made. And we're going to draw one number, fill it in. And you get to pick what set of scales and what blade you want. Then we'll draw a second number, and that person gets what's left. Okay? These are pins, huh? G10 pins on that. Awesome. So it's everything
be as is.